Coming to you live from the Java House, down the street from AT&T Park, it's The Sports Junkies, featuring Thomas Bookwalter, Alex Simon, David Frias, and Ben Baker. Produced by Ben Baker.
Hi everybody, hi sports fans, and welcome back to another great edition of The Sports Junkies. Today we are on location from beautiful downtown San Francisco. We've got AT&T Park, home of the world champion, I still love saying that, San Francisco Giants, and we are taping from the Java House here along the Embarcadero, right behind the ballpark. This is a great place to eat before or after game. People come down, I see them, they hang out, they're talking baseball, they're eating, they're just chilling. Dogs are running on the grass, people are playing catch. This is an awesome place before or after game. They got great food. I would definitely, guys, seriously, next time we go to a game, we got to come here later and check it out after the game.
All right.
I mean, they got beer, soda, great food. It's a lot of fun down here.
You don't have to ask me twice.
Good, I won't. Hey, we got a lot of good stuff to talk about today. Today, we're going to do on this show, we're going to cover two cool topics. Ben Baker's favorite, of course, disc golf, as he is our sports junkie, local disc golf player and expert. And we will also be previewing Wrestlemania, which is coming up on April 7th from New Jersey this year. The Super Bowl of professional wrestling. We will be covering that as well. But let's start with disc golf. And as Ben, we're coming into a new disc golf season pretty soon, right? Is the season already started, or?
That's right. There's been one big tournament so far on the sort of national and world scale, the Memorial Tournament out in Arizona. And a very exciting finish in that one, if I can start with that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Paul McBeth, who was the two-time defending champion coming into the tournament, as well as last year's 2012 world champion. He was playing well, but he was kind of not at the head of the pack. Hanging back around 8th, 10th place, something like that. And then all of a sudden, the last day, he made a charge. He shot 17 down out of 18 holes. And it's the highest rated round ever. And he was on the second card, but the leader, Will Schustrick, goes and he makes his winning putt, seemingly. And, the crowd goes nuts. And they take him in for an interview. He goes back to do his scores. They take him away for another interview. And loving that noise. But
hey, we're on location.
We're on location. Yeah, it's live TV. Folks.
It is.
All right, and so anyway, he makes his big putt. He goes, he does his second interview, and then someone comes over to him in the middle of the interview and says, "Will, you didn't put your total in the box on the scorecard. That's a 2-stroke penalty."
Oh, no.
And then now you're tied with Paul McBeth, who just shot the highest rated round in history. You're going to have a playoff.
You were telling me that story the other day. We were talking about that on the phone.
That's right, yeah.
You didn't tell me he was involved, so that was McBeth and Schustrick.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
okay.
McBeth, fresh off the hottest round in history, goes into a playoff with Schustrick after getting the news that he didn't fill in his scorecard correctly. And they give him about 15 minutes or so to warm up, putt, and all that, just some practice. And then McBeth goes first due to the hot round, I think. And he actually leaves his drive about 50 feet wide of the basket, extra safe. And then Schustrick comes up, he does the riskier shot, and he just nails the shot. He parks it. He's like maybe 10 feet from the basket. McBeth has to putt first. He misses wide. Schustrick cans his putt. He's re-announced as the champion.
So, yeah, can you, Dave,
earned it right
yeah. Honestly, I mean, Dave, can you imagine? That's what I was saying to Ben the other day when he was telling me this over the phone, off the air. Can you imagine? Because Schustrick is the one that forgot to, fill out the score, but he ends up winning anyway. Can you imagine the controversy if he forgot to fill out a score and then McBeth beat him in the playoff?
Well, McBeth would have deserved it because
you got to know the rules.
Messed up,
Yeah, you got to know the rules.
Himself, so
yeah.
Hey, that's pretty exciting tournament.
Yeah.
Conclusion.
And I was able to watch it online, so I was watching the whole thing live. Yeah, they have it on discgolfplanet.tv. It's a great station to go check out, viewers.
When you're not watching this station.
And they got it on the Beach Sports Network now. That's on the dish. Yeah, along with the AVP volleyball tour, and I forgot what the third sport that's mostly covered by them is.
But anyway, if we have more tournaments like that, I'm sure more viewers are going to check it out now.
Yeah, because that's pretty exciting stuff right there. That is, definitely. And we talk about what's going on, before we really get into this year, let's talk about what happened, how last year ended. And Dave, I think you got some of the, how did last year finish up?
Well, as far as disc golf and the PDGA world rankings, the highest ranked player from the Bay Area was Nathan Doss from Capitola, right around the corner.
Yeah.
From, Santa
Who's
Cruz.
also on the show, our show Discmasters.
Sure,
right?
another show I
There you
produce.
go.
Nate's one of the stars of the show, and Capitola is within Santa Cruz County.
Yeah, so he's in the top 10 in the world rankings we're talking about. As far as the top 3 overall players, you have David Philberg from Portland, Oregon. And number 2 is Richard Wysocki from Fort Mill, South Carolina. And the number 1 ranked player, the one we just talked about, already winning in the tournament, Will Schustrick from Nashville, Tennessee. And can you describe, each of the, starting with, I guess, Nate, like how's he going, I guess, as far as coming into this year?
Well, Nate was the 2011 World Champion, which he did in Santa Cruz County, which is our home area, playing a lot of those local courses. And that was really exciting. That was his 3rd world title, putting him in the 2nd most world titles ever behind Ken Climo, who has 12.
Wow.
The Michael Jordan of the sport, as it is. And,
That's pretty high praise.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he certainly is. He's one of the most dominant athletes in any sport ever, Ken Climo. But, so Nate, he's got his 3rd world title. Last year in 2012, kind of an off year for him. He wasn't quite at his peak. It wasn't like he totally fell off the map, but there weren't that many top 5 finishes for him in the big tournaments. But he's been bouncing back strong. He tied for 5th in that Memorial tournament, and so I know everybody in Santa Cruz County is hoping for Nate to have a big year this year. Some of the other guys.
It's the top 2, Wysocki and Schustrick.
Now, Wysocki and Schustrick, they're both really young. Now, Nate, as it is too, is for having 3 world titles, he won his first when he's 20. He's only like
He's 20?
Yeah, he's only like 26, 27 now, and he's already got 3 titles.
Pretty good, yeah.
Now, Schustrick and Wysocki are kind of like Nate used to be. They're right in their, like 19, 20 years old, something like that range.
Would you say that's the prime age for disc golf? Is that where they usually hit their prime, maybe?
Well, it's really changing. There's a lot more young players getting involved in the sport than there used to be. So it's trending that way now.
Okay.
Yeah, Schustrick.
He's someone that was an unknown, or or is he something like becoming type of player?
Well, Schustrick won the U.S. championships when he was only 18, back in 2010, and then he won it a 2nd time last year. Yeah. And that sort of capped off that was probably the biggest highlight of his season last year, was winning the U.S. championships for the 2nd time in 3 years. Yeah, and Wysocki is another really young guy who is one of the very best in the world at the forehand technique, which is, most of the times when you see people play, their strongest throw is the backhand, like you're playing catch with your buddy. And then sometimes they throw the forehand, or the flick technique, 2-finger it's also called. And Wysocki has one of the absolute best forehand techniques in the world. And it's really exciting because most of the other top players don't throw like that. So he's taking a really fresh approach to some world competition. And, Schustrick is just one of the top players as well. They go back and forth in these tournaments, and they've been finishing 1-2 in some of the biggest ones.
Yeah, and so we're talking about the world rankings. In the national rankings from last year, the number 1 player is actually Paul Macbeth.
That's right.
Schustrick's number 2, and then you have Richard Wysocki at number 3. How about the play of Macbeth, like, as far as for the tournament, I guess?
Yeah, I mean,
dramatic.
In my opinion, Macbeth is right there with those guys, and some could even make the case that he had an even better year than those guys last year. The world rankings take into account some of the European championships, and Macbeth didn't perform quite as well there as he did at some of the tournaments back home. He won the Memorial, then the Masters Cup, then the World Championships. And of course, I'm a little biased being from Santa Cruz, which hosts the Masters Cup, but I think it's got to be one of the most difficult tournaments. Yeah. It's really different from a lot of the other tournaments. Masters Cup, you play De La Viega, which is it's a really technical course with lots of chances to have your disc roll the way down a hill. And while those come into effect in other courses, I think it's a little more on the technical, tight window type of things. And if Macbeth, if anybody can win that tournament, I think that makes him a really good player.
Well, now we did, at the beginning, at the top of the show, we mentioned that, Dave, that Ben Baker does play disc golf himself in tournaments. And Ben, how's your, I think I did, yeah. I'm not sure, but I think I did. Ben, how's your season going so far?
Well, it's coming along. Since we did a show like this about a year ago.
Been that long, really?
I broke through, I was in the AM2 rankings, which is the intermediate class of amateurs, and I won the NorCal championships in my division.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. And
So you went the home of the world champions, and now we got champion disc golf. It's a perfect setting right here.
I'm not sure it's quite on the same scale, but
It's
I'll
not,
take the
but
compliment.
it's something.
So anyway, I busted through that, and now I'm in the AM1 rankings, which is the advanced amateurs, and that's the top. Next step from there is going pro. So right now I've entered a few tournaments early this year, and I've kind of finished middle of the pack, kind of so-so, but I'm taking my licks.
How do you actually turn pro?
Well,
I mean, do you have to fill out paperwork and that kind of thing, or is that?
No, technically anybody can enter a pro tournament as long as it's not like an invite-only sort of tournament.
Okay.
And the thing is, once you accept cash as a winning, like if you finish in a place that earns money,
right,
and you accept that money, then technically you're a pro.
Then you're a pro, okay.
And you can't go back to being
right,
an amateur.
Right.
But if you refuse the money, you can go back.
Which means he wouldn't be disc golfing in the Olympics.
The perk of being amateur is you can win frisbees and stuff, and the competition's not quite as tough.
Now I will say I played disc golf with both these guys. I'm probably the least likely who would be talented enough to even think about going pro. Dave, you're better than I am, though. I mean, you make a pretty good amateur.
Ben's our hope right here.
You're being hard on yourself.
To make it to the pros, Ben.
Hey,
disc golf.
That is the
You're
plan.
our sports junkie representative at disc golf. Exactly.
Yeah.
If I didn't practice, I wouldn't have gotten better. So practice.
It's a lesson for the kids out there, right? Keep practice.
We're looking for bigger and better things this year, right, Ben?
That's right.
This year,
So, Ben, what's coming up to look forward to in this golf season this year?
If I can borrow the notes for a second, we got the National Collegiate Championships is probably the biggest thing coming up really soon in about, I think, 2 or 3 weeks, first week of April.
Okay.
And our buddies down at CSUMB, Cal State Monterey Bay, are going to it, and they're fourth ranked in the country, so they have a real shot of winning it. They'll be going up against Colorado State, who's ranked #1 right now. They're the defending champions. University of Oregon, of course, one of my favorites. My dad's alum. They won in 2011.
Dave and I've known that for years. Go Ducks with Ben.
I think they're probably still coached by Dave Feldberg, who you saw as one of the top 5 players in the world. So they're going to have some tough competition, but we're all hoping for CSUMB to do as good as they can. I got a lot of buddies on the team, and it's exciting.
Any big tournaments coming up locally in Santa Cruz?
Sure. Well, Masters Cup.
Oh, okay.
They have the amateur version of Masters Cup is the second weekend in April, and the pro version is the fourth weekend. And in between those is actually the Daisy Chains tournament, which is it's a women's only tournament, and they're really working on the women's tour this year. It's come a long way. So those are all coming up in the Santa Cruz area, and definitely come check them out.
Great. Well, Ben, you and I were having a fun discussion on the phone about, we were comparing, some of the rules and just unwritten, because a lot of it has been coming up in the news lately, or in sports, about unwritten rules. And of course, we saw a big example of this in baseball, in the World Baseball Classic earlier, right, with Team Mexico and Canada, and it ended up in a big brawl. So it's always kind of fun to discuss unwritten rules. What are some of the unwritten? You were telling me about some of the unwritten rules on the course of disc golf.
Well, maybe I should state first that when people take etiquette too seriously, that's when things go wrong.
Yeah.
And so, as one of I posted a question on Facebook for our fans or people that I'm friends with, and it's nice to see a response. I'd like to respond to that. I remember Alan Walker posting something about found discs. And
you were telling me about that.
Found discs is a really touchy subject. A lot of times when you're first starting to play disc golf, you throw your shot into the woods. You don't want to, but you throw your disc.
It's like a sand trap in ball golf. Yeah.
And sometimes you come out, you look deep in the woods, and sometimes you don't even find your disc, but you find someone else's. And sometimes it has a phone number on it. Other times someone leaves like their PDGA number on it. Sometimes there's nothing at all. And the unwritten rule there is you find it, no name, it's yours. And different courses have, lost and found set up, and some don't even have that. So, there's people deal with it a lot of different ways, and sometimes people's feelings get hurt. For instance, I didn't tell you this story. One time I was playing just a casual round, right?
It wasn't when you played with us, was it? Okay.
Nope,
So
okay. It was back at the La Viega.
Okay, good. We didn't break any rules, Dave.
I threw my drive, and we're all walking to our drives. Somebody walks up to the disc, picks it up, and says, "That's my buddy's disc."
Oh boy.
Yeah, and he just walked off with it. I said, "We're in the middle of a round here."
So hang on, did you say the unwritten rule is if there's no name on it, it's your disc if you found it?
Right.
Doesn't matter who. So okay.
So that can be a touchy subject, but that's one of the things that comes up.
This went missing, and it's not yours. Someone else finds it.
I just found
name
this
and
one.
number.
Wait.
See the short.
Okay, it's on the back.
So
Darn, I
all
wanted this one.
Now, okay, and here's another thing, right? Okay, that has someone else's name on it. Well, I bought it off him for $10 because he didn't want it.
You might want to cross the name off.
I might, but if it gets returned to him, he'll remember that I bought it off.
Oh,
him
sure he will. I didn't
Hopefully.
buy this from you. What are you talking about? It's mine. Hey, but it looks like a lot of fun stuff is coming up with disc golf this year. We'll definitely pay attention and be watching it. The Masters in Santa Cruz definitely sounds interesting. It sounds like it should be a lot of fun.
It's a great time.
Are you going to play in the amateur tournament?
I'm going to play in the amateur tournament the second weekend of April.
Oh, great. Okay.
Looking to do the best I can.
We want details, Ben.
You'll
want
get
to know
them.
how you did, all right?
You'll get them, yeah.
We'll get them. They'll be exhausting, but we'll get them. Just kidding. We'll get them. It'll be
If you
fun.
think that's exhausting, you should be out there playing.
I've played. It's fun. But I know, but the thing is, I kept hitting trees. I couldn't stop hitting a tree to save my life. And that's another thing you were telling me about was people get upset about that. Right?
There is a lot of hot water over environmental impact.
Yeah.
And it kind of it's a hot water issue in disc golf.
Yeah. I mean, because you're not always playing with great big oak trees, which won't get hurt if you hit a frisbee. I'm sorry, a disc hits them.
Yeah, if you've got a skinnier limb tree and it starts getting hacked away, then sometimes people who don't actually play disc golf want to tell you all about the impact it's having, and it's kind of like, you guys aren't the experts, but
So Dave, let's keep that in mind. If we ever want to just play around in disc golf, let's not do it around the trees here at AT&T Park in the Willie Mays Plaza. I don't want to be killing all those palm trees.
It's a touchy subject because in a way they might be more of an environmental expert than the disc golfers are, but we are the ones dealing with the course every day. So anyway,
Well, we're going to switch gears here and do a little Wrestlemania preview. If you remember last year, we did a Wrestlemania review where we reviewed last year's Wrestlemania. So this time we're going to preview it before it actually starts. And so I'm going to we're going to have our ring announcer for this one be Ben Baker. Ben, take it.
All right, so
entering the ring.
I'd like to start off the Wrestlemania preview talking about the WWE Hall of Fame. Every year on the night before WrestleMania, there's a Hall of Fame ceremony, and this year, 2013 class includes Mick Foley, three-time WWE champion, one-time hardcore champion, multiple-time tag team champion, and legendary hardcore-style wrestler.
And Ben, I'm just going to mention this because I know since our college days at SF State, one of Ben Baker's favorite wrestlers of all time is The Rock.
Yeah.
Mick Foley was a he was tag team champion with other people, but he was three-time tag team champions with The Rock.
I'm glad to hear that.
And the very popular tag team of the Rock and Sock Connection.
The Rock and Sock Connection?
Rock and Sock Connection.
That's what they call it.
So he would be the sock.
Well, because Mick Foley had a prop of a sock on his hand. And remember this day, Mr. Socko?
Now it's coming back to me.
Mr. Socko. He'd have a sock with a little face on it or something, and he'd use it. He'd stuff it in his opponent's mouth into a chokehold or something. The mandible claw and cause him to pass out. So it's Mr. Socko.
That's a tough move to defend, isn't it?
I've never had it applied on me, and I don't want it applied on me, but I would assume it's a very hard move to defend, yes.
So when they say stick a sock in it.
It means something else in wrestling, yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, he also wrestled for all the major promotions under 4 different personas. Cactus Jack, Mankind, Dude Love.
That was a hippie.
And under his real name, Mick Foley. Can you elaborate a little bit on Cactus Jack, Mankind, Dude Love,
you knew about Cactus Jack,
and then Mick Foley himself?
Yeah, Mankind was probably his most popular persona in WWE. He wrestled as Cactus Jack in ECW, WCW, and WWE. Mankind was strictly WWE, but Mankind was like, originally the Mankind character was a very deranged, lonely guy who lived in a boiler room and ate rats. And so he's very deranged. Yeah, and you can tell this is Attitude Era. And then he became more of a comical thing with Mr. Sacco. But Mankind was originally a very demented, deranged character. And then Cactus Jack, and then Dude Love was just like a little hippie thing that he threw together.
I don't remember Dude Love. I remember the other people, not Dude Love. But I do know this: in Mick Foley's career, he seemed like he wanted to push it to the extreme. You know?
Oh, he did.
And this guy would do anything, you know, win or lose. You know.
He had a match. I think we talked about it.
You know, he's definitely one of the best.
Do you remember the Hell in a Cell match with the Undertaker? He gets thrown off.
I mean, just
the cage. The Undertaker throws him off the cage through the announce table. Okay, Then there's another spot where he gets choked. He ends up, there's a tooth coming up from his lip. I mean, this guy, there was a match in ECW, right? With ECW with the rings ropes were barbed wire, and he lost part of his ear. So this guy, Mick Foley would have done anything to entertain and go hard, yeah.
Well, that's good. Entertainment's the name of the game.
It is.
All right, how about Bob Backlund? He's getting inducted to the Hall of Fame here. He had a wrestling career spanning over 30 years, two-time WWE champion. And it says here his first title reign was the second longest reign in WWE history, having it for 5 years and 10 months. And he later ran for political office.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Didn't he referee a WrestleMania match?
I think he probably did. Yeah.
That's where I remember him mostly, just as a guest of honor. You know, Vince McMahon bring him out. You know, Bob Backlund, and he had a huge chest. You could tell he was physique even at his older age. But I never got to see him wrestling, but all the stats, I mean, definitely one of the best of his era.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing is this year is that they are inducting the guys with the longest two reigns in history. They're inducting Bob Backlund, and they're inducting Bruno Sammartino, who was a two-time champion and held the belt for like
8 years.
8 years. His first reign, he was champion for 8 years, and he never. This is actually an interesting story, Ben, because he'd never gone into the Hall of Fame yet, because they wanted to put him in for years, but he didn't like the Attitude Era. He was old school. He didn't like the new, the DX stuff and the Rock telling people to shove things up there. I mean, he didn't like that style. When it went more towards entertainment. But they're kind of going more PG now, and he's okay with where it's going now, so he's agreed to go.
The wrestling in the 90s was the Attitude Era. The 80s was about the ego era.
Or the superhero ego.
So these guys were
like
before
Hulk Hogan.
That. These guys were 60s and 70s era when it was more raw, I guess.
Right.
And before our time even. So I don't know if any of you remember seeing.
I never saw either one of them wrestle. No, I never saw either of them. I think I did see him. Right, he was at WrestleMania a while back. But yeah, no, I haven't seen him.
All right, and who could forget Diva of the Decade for the 2000s, 7-time WWE Women's Champion Trish Stratus.
I'm surprised he didn't go to her first, by the way. But no, I know Trish Stratus, 7-time WWE Women's Champion. Like you said, she was named Diva of the Decade for the 2000s. She retired when she got married. She's very, very popular superstar and diva, and she's going in the Hall of Fame.
Now, diva, that's not a bad thing in wrestling. I think.
No, that just means you're a woman wrestler.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't mean right, like in football, right? A diva wide receiver is a bad thing. Terrell Owens is a diva, but no, that's not what it means in wrestling.
Okay, and then we have a celebrity inductee, Donald Trump. Now, for those who don't
the
follow
look of confusion of Dave's face, I love that.
People should know he's a longtime WWE fan. He hosted 2 straight early WrestleManias and beat Vince McMahon in a hair match back in 2007. Can you tell us a little more about the hair match?
Yeah, it was. Dave, if you remember, okay. Because they made this, because Trump, like you said, is a big wrestling fan, and they made this storyline. Because, on The Apprentice, on Donald Trump's show, The Apprentice, his main thing is saying to people, you're fired. Well, Vince McMahon, his character, thinks that's his thing. Because he likes it, you're fired. So they kind of had a battle over that. And then, so what they did is, they made a hair match where the loser each picked a wrestler. They didn't actually wrestle each other. That would have been a little weird. They each picked a wrestler, and the loser... Man, his guy had to, the loser had to have his head shaved. So if Donald Trump's wrestler lost, he'd have to have his head shaved. Same with Vince McMahon. Now, we should mention that the special guest ref, Dave, it was stacked up against Vince from the beginning. Because the special guest ref is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, you know that, yeah. So so Vince's wrestler lost, and Vince had to have his head shaved. In the middle of the ring on WrestleMania.
So if Donald Trump is going to be a celebrity inductee, Mike Tyson also, right, has been already inducted?
Yeah, I think he was inducted last year, yeah. Yeah, Mike Tyson was inducted last year. He was part of GX.
So it's got to go the whole thing. Anyways.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Get to the big matches, the matches, the real matches.
Yeah, let's get to a big match.
let's get to the big
We're
match.
running out of time.
We can run a little over time. We'll make this work.
Okay.
All right, so storylines for these matches. We got Triple H versus Brock Lesnar. And so it says they had a rivalry last summer that ended when Lesnar beat Triple H and broke his arm. And Triple H said maybe he can't do this anymore. And he said goodbye.
He went to the ring the next night saying, maybe Brock Lesnar made me think maybe I can't do this anymore. And he retired. He got all choked up, said goodbye to the fans.
Yeah, all right. So Lesnar left for a while too. A couple of weeks ago, Lesnar came back and attacked Vince McMahon as McMahon was about to fire Lesnar's former manager,
Paul Heyman. Who, Dave, as you remember, was the owner of ECW.
The week after, Triple H came back and attacked Lesnar to defend McMahon, who is Triple H's father-in-law, and challenged Lesnar to a match at WrestleMania.
Should we do predictions for this, or how do you want to do this?
Yeah, let's do that. Well, we should also keep in mind, let's not worry too much about time and just let this...
Okay, no, but I'm saying, do you want to do predictions for the match? That's what, yeah.
Why not?
Okay. All right, well, Dave, you told me you know a little about Triple H and Brock Lesnar. Why don't you go ahead and then make your prediction? What are your thoughts going into this match?
Well, I know Brock Lesnar professionally. He tried to. I mean,
You know him?
I know the last few years he's been trying to prove that he's a real fighter.
He went to UFC.
UFC, and it's for the most part. I mean, it's been kind of mixed. He ended up retiring from that, and now he's back to where he really supposed to be as an entertaining wrestler. I think this is going to be a really good matchup. Two veteran wrestlers. The storyline, I guess, being that he's defending
His father-in-law. Triple H is defending his father-in-law.
I'm going to give a slight edge then to Triple H this time.
Okay, yeah, Brock Lesnar won the last one at SummerSlam, yeah.
And maybe Triple H wants to, get back in the spotlight.
Well, I mean, the thing you also have to remember, and you pointed out, that he is Vince McMahon's son-in-law, and there's this thing in wrestling sometimes where to set up a rematch, you have a guy get his win back. And Triple H has been one of the top guys in the WWE, top wrestlers in the WWE for years, and he lost. He's like now he's corporate, he's in the front office, but he was, he's a 13-time champion. He's one of the top guys. So he's the company man, so it wouldn't be surprising to see him get his win. I think a lot of fans like to see Brock Lesnar win, to be honest, even though he is, a villain. But I think they go the company route, and I think because you never see, in the end, Vince never loses. Which means Vince's side never loses in the end. And so I think Triple H wins the rematch.
Okay, let's go on to the next match.
No, you have to make your prediction too.
Me too?
Yeah.
I don't know I'm not the expert here.
Flip a coin.
Yeah, flip a coin.
That's like me asking you guys to make a disc golf prediction.
Okay, Ben Baker
These are two
wins the
well-known
amateur Masters. I just made a
I
prediction.
appreciate your support.
You're welcome. All right.
Who do you like, Triple H or Brock Lesnar?
Yeah, just say Triple H or Brock
I'm
Lesnar.
just going to take Lesnar.
Go with. See, he's going. That's good. All right. He's going with
You
the.
like Triple H?
That way we're covered. Somebody actually picked Lesnar if Lesnar actually wins. Okay, go ahead.
So next match, CM Punk versus The Undertaker. CM Punk was WWE champion for over a year before losing it to The Rock in January. He then lost the rematch in February and lost his last shot at another rematch when John Cena defeated him 2 weeks ago on Raw.
Well, yeah, a few weeks ago. Yeah.
So Punk, who is now a villain, decided that if he couldn't be in the title match, he would challenge The Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania, 20-0, to prove that he, Punk, is still the best in the world.
That's his tagline, is that he's the best in the world.
Undertaker hasn't wrestled since last year's WrestleMania and has never lost at the event. He came back and accepted Punk's challenge. Now my question to you guys, who's going to win this one?
So why has Undertaker? Is he like in a seniority status now? Like he could wrestle anytime he wants.
Well, the thing is, he's pretty beat
He
up.
deserves
I mean,
it. He deserves it.
yeah. Undertaker's almost 50 years old, and so he doesn't have very many matches. Yeah, he doesn't have very many matches left. And the last couple of years, he's only wrestled at WrestleMania.
Really?
So he came back. There was a special episode of Raw. They were going for a nostalgia thing. He came back and saved his storyline Brother King from getting a beatdown in July. But then other than that, we haven't seen it. He hasn't wrestled since WrestleMania.
From what Ben has just mentioned about CM Punk's recent matches, I don't see the Undertaker having any problems winning this.
Well, see, that's
match.
the thing. I mean, that's kind of it's interesting because in a way the WWE is painting themselves into a storyline corner here because, yeah, it's the Undertaker. He's a legend. He's the owner of the streak. WrestleMania.
He's the greatest WrestleMania wrestler probably in their history.
Shawn Michaels would disagree with you, but yes, I think the Undertaker.
Never losing?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, but the thing is that CM Punk is their top guy. I mean, well, John Cena, but I mean, he's the top villain. CM Punk is the top villain. He was WWE champion for 434 days. So he's one of the things you want to keep him on top. And the Seagulls are making their predictions right now. The thing is, Punk has lost like 3 straight huge matches. He lost the WWE title to The Rock at the Royal Rumble in January. He lost the rematch for the title at the Elimination Chamber in February. And then he lost a winner faces The Rock match to John Cena on Raw a few weeks ago, which was one of the best matches I've ever seen, by the way. You saw that on TV, right? That was a great match.
Yeah.
But, so obviously, they've kind of painted themselves into a corner because how do you script The Undertaker to win, keep the streak going, but then Punk maybe looks a little weaker to the fans? But then if you have Punk win, you end the streak. So Ben, if I can ask Dave, how would you handle it? If you're the writers, how do you handle that?
Maybe it's Undertaker's call. Maybe he wants to say, if I lose this, then it'll be my way of retiring.
Passing the torch.
Yeah, not even passing the torch, just as his farewell. But then again, if he's only wrestling once a year, he could come back and say, I want to win one more WrestleMania. So
yeah.
I mean, I just think he's just from his recent matches. I mean, he seems pretty weak. Maybe it's just the Undertaker coming in and just shutting up Mr. Punk.
Well, here's the thing, Ben. You and I were talking about this the other day. You saw what happened a couple weeks ago on Raw with an interesting twist to the storyline.
Paul Bearer?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did see CM Punk come in and disrespect the Undertaker at the memorial for Mr. Paul Bearer, Mr. Undertaker's longtime manager.
Right, Paul Bearer, we should be, Dave, you know who Paul Bearer was, right?
Yeah.
Paul Bearer was the longtime manager of The Undertaker, starting from
Stairs.
91. He scared the heck out of him. He's just a scary guy. He was, his real name was Willie Moody. He played Paul Bearer, Undertaker's man. He and Mr. Moody actually died recently. So they did a tribute to him on the Monday Night Raw show. Undertaker was there, and during the tribute,
Very touching tribute.
Yeah, CM Punk comes out and just basically disses the whole thing.
The Undertaker's in the middle of just.
Ben's getting pumped.
Yeah.
Ben's about to cut a promo, by the way.
Undertaker's practically crying there over the ashes of Mr. Paul Bearer, and the next thing you hear is the theme music for CM Punk, and he walks out like Kanye West interrupting Taylor Swift at the VMAs,
wow.
thinking he's too good for the memorial ceremony for Mr. Paul Bearer. That's a bit of history right there for you, CM Punk. You need to lay it down and show a little respect.
Tidbit on the
Nice promo, by the way.
His name was
Willie Moody?
And he's from Ohio, and he actually worked for a morgue.
He did. He was a mortician.
Morgue,
he was a mortician.
And people that worked with him said he was one of the nicest guys they met. So he did as far as playing the role of Paul Moody,
Paul Bearer.
Mr. Paul Bearer. I mean, he was just definitely one of the great managers.
Yeah.
For the legendary.
So that adds a little twist that makes the fans hate Punk more, is what it does.
Yeah.
He's
a real punk.
He's in for a beatdown.
He's a punk.
He's in
For
for
the
a
pile driver,
beatdown.
for the pile driver, right? That's the famous move of the
Okay, so the Tombstone pile driver.
Tombstone pile
So
driver.
you're saying Undertaker?
Yeah.
Ben?
I'm taking the Undertaker.
Well, okay, and I will quote Paul Bearer. Oh yes. Undertaker. Although it wouldn't surprise me if CM Punk, our cameraman is looking at me like that was the worst impression ever, and it probably was. Like, no disrespect intended to Paul Bearer. I was just trying to do that.
You got 2 matches to go with.
But I will say that no, I wouldn't be surprised if CM Punk won, because it would be kind of maybe a passing the torch moment. But so CM Punk wouldn't shock me, but I don't see how the WWE ever ends that streak. Undertaker.
All right, next match. The next match we have is Alberto Del Rio versus Jack Swagger for the World Heavyweight Championship. Well, Alberto Del Rio is the current champion. He was a villain but turned fan favorite in January and defeated the Big Show for the title. Jack Swagger came back after a few months off in February and won a match that made him the #1 contender. He is a villain and has a very controversial gimmick right now, as he is calling himself Real American and is spouting off some right-wing anti-immigration crap.
Yeah, that's his character right now, yes.
Swagger is a one-time World Heavyweight Champion, having held the title in 2009. Thomas, Dave, how are you feeling about this matchup? How's it going to go down?
Well, I think they've set up a perfect storyline with it because of the fact that Alberto Del Rio, the World Heavyweight Champion, is an immigrant from Mexico, and Del Rio spouting off the anti-immigration, crap. So that's a nice little easy storyline right there.
What happened to the days when it was Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant for the World Wrestling Federation Championship? I mean, I gotta be honest.
Well, Andre the Giant died, and Hogan's still wrestling.
That was in the heyday of the Wrestlemania early years. But these are 2 wrestlers, I gotta be honest, I really don't know too much about. But based on the storyline, how can I go for Swagger? How can I go against being that Latino American and not go for Alberto Del Rio? To retain his, to be the current, to hold on to the belt as heavyweight champion.
Here's the thing, you guys. I read online that originally Swagger was booked to win the match at WrestleMania, but he got arrested a little while ago for a DUI. So the WWE might have Del Rio